Good afternoon and welcome to our session on tips and tricks for constraint-based design. My name is Yashodhan Joshi and I'm a technical support engineer here with our water infrastructure team at Bentley. For today's session, we'll be taking a look at some tips and tricks that you can employ for your constraint-based design using the GVF Convex or the GVF Rational Solver. So for today's session, we will be first seeing how to design a sewer or a storm conveyance system. What are the methods used for this? So we have the GVF Convex Solver, which is used to design sewer systems, and the GVF Rational Solver, which can be used to design stormwater networks. We'll be taking a look at the workflow that needs to be adopted for this design. And after that, we'll be doing the results validation as per the constraints prescribed. And the final step would be adjustments, that is modifying or tweaking your design so that you can get an optimized design as per your design considerations. So before we begin with the workflow, let us take a look at the product hierarchy and design methods. So SewerGems is the superset of our storm sewer products, which are SewerGems, CivilStorm, SewerCAD and StormCAD. So the GVF Convex and the GVF Rational Solver both are available with SewerGems, but SewerCAD has only the GVF Convex Solver and StormCAD and CivilStorm have the GVF Rational Solver. Apart from these, there are two dynamic solvers, that is the implicit solver and the explicit swim solver, which are available in SewerGems and CivilStorm, but these cannot be used for designing sewer or storm conveyance system. So this is the situation that you might typically have, in which you will have an upstream condition such as a manhole or an inlet, in which you have some known data such as flow or invert elevation, and on the downstream side you might have another manhole or inlet, or you might know an actual outfall location for which you will have some downstream data such as flow, elevation or a known water surface level. So between these 2 points you need to design the system. So all these intermediate manholes or inlets, we need to have the design parameters such as depth, slope and size. So the software will design the system and give you the results for these values. Now, prior to software, there was the manual design approach that was basically followed, and this is the generalized steps for that manual design approach. So this involves drawing the basic network, identifying pipe sizes and materials that are anticipated to be used. So you have to first take out all the pipe sizes and what kind of materials that you need to use. Then you have to set some design criteria such as cover, velocity, slope, etc. Okay. Identify or assume an outfall location. So if you have an existing outfall location, then you can use that. Otherwise you need to assume an outfall location. Then carry out iteration number 1 with assumed pipe sizes. So this fifth step is in which you would have some assumed pipe sizes that you would generally use. This can be based on your experience, or you might have some idea about what kind of pipe sizes initially can be used. So you can use those and do your first calculation attempt. Then analyze the system, review the results and check if the criteria are met. Okay. And once this is done, then repeat the iterations and the steps until the optimum design is achieved. So you have to do this number of times to get an optimum design. So the first assumption, you might assume some minimum pipe sizes, and then you might find out at some or the other location the criteria that you have set is not met. So you would change the pipe sizes and do this iterative process until an optimum design is achieved. So the software is taking over the second half of all these design steps. Okay, so right up till identifying and assuming an outfall location, the steps are remaining the same, but the iterative process and comparing it back and forth with the design criteria, that is taken over by the software. So what is constraint based design? So constraint based design is basically design based upon three parameters in our StormSewer products. So the GVF convex solver and the GVF rational solver require parameters such as velocity, cover and slope. So you need minimum velocity, maximum velocity, minimum cover and maximum cover, as well as slope. And based on these parameters, it gives you a degree of design. So in some cases, you might want to design the inverts as well as the pipe sizes. In some cases, you might have a fair idea about the invert levels, but you might need to design the pipe sizes. And there is also an option of partial or full flow design. So setting up the design constraint can be done at two places. So either you can go to the analysis tab and set the design constraints over there, but you can also do the same in the design constraints alternative. The benefit of this is that you will see that the design constraints alternative also gives you an option of setting up design constraints individually for each of the pipes. So if you see the design constraints over here, you will see that you have the gravity pipe table below the constraints, and you have 4 columns in which you can check and uncheck if you don't want to choose that design criteria. So if you have a conduit in which you know the start and stop invert locations, then uncheck those columns and only design the conduit for the size. But if you want to include the invert levels also into the design, then keep them as it is. So apart from these things, there are two types of design constraints that are global and local. So the ones that you set when you go to the analysis tab are the global design constraints that are applied for the entire model. But you might have some criteria that you might choose for some of the pipes or some groups of pipes. So that option you can specify in this 4th column, that is specify local pipe constraint. So if you have some local data for that pipe, you can input that in the pipe properties and you can check on that, so that will be used when designing that pipe. So what is the constraint based design approach? So the first step is similar. Draw the basic network. So you can lay out your network over here. Set the design constraints, velocity, cover and slope. Identify the outfall and known data. And 4th will be assign the catalog conduits. So draw the network, set the design constraints, identify the outfall and input your known data, that is your upstream and the downstream conditions if you have that. Assign the catalog conduits, set the calculation option to design. So the GVF convex and the GVF rational solvers both have the switch from analysis to design. So you have to switch it to design when you are doing a design constraint based design. Compute and generate results, then review them. Okay, so now we'll be looking at an example in which I'll show you how a constraint based design has to be performed, and we'll take a look at the results, and then we'll see if they are matching up to the design constraint, and then we'll see what kind of modifications or adjustments we can do to get the optimized design. So we have a typical civil network that is already laid out over here. So you can see there are several branches that are flowing to a common outfall. I have also attached a terrain model to this network, and I have set the manhole property, that is update ground elevation from terrain model, to true. So all my manholes are updating their ground elevation from the terrain model, and they are taking up those values. The same is defined for the outfall. So for this model, I have the upstream known invert elevation for manhole MH41, that is over here, and that value is 92.05 meters. You can see that the ground elevation is automatically taken up from the terrain model. For the downstream condition, I don't know any invert elevation for the outfall, so I have kept it as 0, and there is also no known water surface elevation, so I have kept it as a free outfall, but I know the location, so I have specified that over here. So the model is like this, and we can see in the flex table that the conduit diameters are currently set to 0 because we don't know the diameters. The material also is kept as blank. The conduit type is kept as user defined conduit, and we'll change it to catalog conduit when we take the data from the conduit catalog. The section type is set to circle, and all our conduits are going to be circular. So if you take a look at the manhole flex table also, you will see that all the manholes are having invert elevation as 0 except manhole MH41, for which we know the invert elevation. So that we have input over here. So the first step of drawing out or laying out the network is completed over here. We have some data also assigned to it. Now if we go to the components and we go to the conduit catalog, you will see that the circle concrete conduit catalog is already set up. So I have imported this from the library where we have several shapes available, and you can choose the material also. So the conduit catalogs are predefined. If you want to set up your own conduit catalog, that is also available. That is also an option over here, so you can do that also. So in this you can see that the pipe sizes are from 150 mm to almost 3000 mm, and you can see the manning sen is also defined as per the material, that is concrete. And I'm purposefully keeping all these pipe sizes, although we may not require till 3000, but I'm keeping them so that you know that this is the range of diameters that we are having. The conduit shape is also circle. Okay, so that is also set up over here. Now going back to our flex tables, what we'll do is we'll set the conduit as catalog conduit. So go to conduit type, global edit, and set it to catalog conduit, and we'll set this size as minimum 150 mm for all the pipe sizes. So currently we don't know any pipe diameter, so it's wise to keep a minimum size diameter for all the pipe diameters, and using this initial value the software will interpolate and see which is the best size that has to be taken as per the flow. So the material we have to keep as concrete. The manning sen is 0.013 for concrete, that is already put over there. So our conduits are now set up. For manholes, we'll keep the invert elevation as 0 as the starting point for the design solver. So we have the MH41 that is set up, so we'll not touch that, but the rest of them we'll keep it as 0. Now let us take a look at our design constraints. So go to analysis, design constraints. So you can see over here that I have put the velocity constraint as simple, that is the simple type, and the minima and maxima are 0.6 and 3 meters per second. So if you have a table of velocity constraints in which you have different velocities for different pipe diameters, then you can choose the table type and put those over here. So let me change it back. Okay. So for cover, you can see that the cover is also a simple type cover, in which I have minimum 1 meter, maximum 10 meters, and the measure cover option is set to pipe crown. You can choose as per your preference. You will also see this option of consider cover along pipe length. So if you check this, it will reference the active terrain model that you have attached, and it will also see the cover for intermediate points between the manholes. So it will not only measure the cover at the manhole locations, but in between, if there is a rise or dip, it will consider that as well. So for slope, I have a table for different pipe diameters. So I have used that table and I have put the minimum and maximum slope values in terms of percentages. Okay, and now if we go to the extended design, you will see that the part full design is also enabled, and I am designing the conduits for 80% full capacity. Number of barrels is also an option if you want to allow for multiple pipes on in parallel. So you can check this and can specify the maximum number of barrels. And if you have a limiting section size, then you can specify that. So you can say that, okay, my design should not exceed beyond this pipe diameter. So you can check on this and you can specify that diameter over here. Currently we are not going to do that. For node, the pipe matching criteria has been set to crowns, and I am also selecting the option to allow for drop structure, and I have specified a minimum drop of 1 meter. So this is useful in cases where I want to minimize the cover and I don't want unnecessarily steep pipe slopes. So the inlet tab is currently not useful for us because we are doing a normal civil network design. It will be useful if we are using the GVF rational solver and we want to design a storm conveyance network. Okay, so the constraints are set up and our model is ready. Before we go, let us take a look at the design alternative, in which you will see a similar table for the design constraints as we have set them up. So the design constraints that we set up in the analysis tab, these are the global design constraints. Now in the design alternative, we have the option of selecting the design, what kind of design we want for individual conduits. So we are going to go with designing the conduit as well as the start and the stop invert levels also. So those options are selected. I also don't have any local pipe constraints, so that is unchecked. And for the node, we can see that all the manholes are checked on for designing the structure elevation, but we will uncheck for MH41 as we know the structure elevation. Okay, we know the invert level, so we don't want to design that, but except that for every other manhole the option is checked on. So those two things. Now let us close this and take a look at the active solver that we are going to use. So we'll go to calculation options You can see this GVF convex design, and it is you can see that the active numerical solver is GVF convex SewerCAD, and the calculation type is set to design. So you can see you can change it from analysis to design over here. The time analysis type is steady state. So an important note over here is that the design can be done only when the system is in steady state, because it is not possible to analyze for extended period simulation for each and every time step. So it is if you want to design it for your entire extended period simulation, you want to choose a single pipe, then it is better to do the design for peak flow. So that is what we have done over here. So the model is now set up for analysis. I have already input the loads at the manholes in terms of liters per day, and these are the maximum peak flows at the manholes. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and compute. So you will see this message, that is the design calculation may modify the physical properties. Okay, so this is basically telling you that beyond this point there are going to be changes in the model. Your physical properties might change, so if you want, you can capture them in a different alternative. So that is the option that is giving over here, but we are already designing it in a separate scenario and alternative, so we will check no for that, and the design is done. Okay, so we'll close this and we'll close the user notifications for now. We'll get back to them later on. Now we'll take a look at the pipe flex tables and see what kind of sizes are chosen. So if we take a look over here, you can see that several pipe sizes are chosen. We'll global edit. Okay, sorry. So we can see that from minimum 150 to some 200, 375. This is looking like the maximum pipe size over here. Okay, and we'll also take a look at the invert elevations. So yeah, so you can see MH41, it is not touched over here, but rest of the invert elevations you can see they are now populated. So we had chosen 0, but it has done the analysis.